welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I am your host, Chris Gianta. You know what Christy Mathewson wasn't worried about? SIERA. When you're thinking about Pedro Ciriaco, I mean, the only one that can compete is maybe Hannes Wagner's 1908 season. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran.
Like, if we just clip together every time we've talked about him on other people's profiles, we've done a Mickey Cochran episode.
I can't get past Rabbit Marinville. It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball, kind of whenever. I'm your host, Chris Gianta. Across from me, as you cannot see on YouTube, unfortunately, is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, we got 3 big-name free agents off the board, and it's not even Thanksgiving. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Maybe players are just trying to get stuff done before there's a lockout. But
potentially,
free agency is actually going quickly, which I was not ready for.
This is the quickest it's been in a very long time. Like, how often do you get free agents signing before the MVP gets announced?
Almost never. If they do, it's like a 1 year. It's like Robbie Ray signing for like 1 year and $8 million. Like, who really cares? What's he gonna do? Win the Cy Young?
Yeah. It's it's just not gonna happen. It would have been funny if Robbie Ray signed again before awards.
Yeah.
And
takes out a major negotiation piece.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, I'll leave it up to interpretation. I'm probably 1 or 2. And he ended up being 1. So we previewed awards a couple times in the past couple weeks, where we did our picks, our predictions. We kind of talked about finalist snubs last week, and finally we see the awards. Three quarters of the awards. One award still very much in question for tonight's sake, but
one and not 2.
Yeah, not 2 awards, because
the big question in the AL is he going to be unanimous?
Yeah.
Is Marcus Semien going to get every first place vote? I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Exactly. So yeah, the awards. So I guess we'll start chronologically. Something we all expected. Randy Arozarena gets the American League Rookie of the Year. Mm-hmm. He got 20 first place votes, or
something like that. I believe it was 20 first place votes. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go. Or I think BBWAA.
Yeah, if you go to their Twitter account.
Yeah, I don't know if they have a .com or. Oh yeah. By the way, shout out to the BBWAA Twitter account, most efficient Twitter account
absolutely in
the history of the internet.
Like, as soon as those results are announced, it's right there.
And also, it's like before they, like, sometimes they have to do some promo stuff, because it's like they'll be like, all right, finalists are going to get announced this date, this date, this date. But before they talked about finalists being announced, their last tweet was February from the last Hall of Fame election.
This morning we were publishing 311 Hall of Fame ballots. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they only tweet the important stuff.
Yeah, they're great. Like, I wish there are a lot of Twitter accounts that could learn from that. Randy Arozarena, he got 22 first place votes out of 30. Luis Garcia got 2. Wander Franco got 2. Adolis Garcia got 3. 2 of them being from Texas writers. And Emmanuel Clase got 1.
Yeah, shout out to Bruce Levine from Chicago, actually. Voted for a division rival as his Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
For being the only person who got it right, just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I mean, Randy Arozarena, he got 22 first place votes. I can't be mad at that. Like, he deserved it.
Yeah.
I would have voted Clase.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's an edgy pick. It's definitely an edgy pick if he got 5th. But I'm happy for Randy. Yeah.
I had him 2nd, and he had 2 second place votes, so not many agreed with my perspective either.
I think a lot of the reason why people feel sort of underwhelmed with this Rookie of the Year class is because, like, Randy Arozarena's peak wasn't this year when he won Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, his best part of his career, where he just came off his rookie season, didn't come in that season.
Yeah. Like we kind of looked at him as being underwhelming this season because what we remember is he hit 10 home runs in the playoffs, which nobody has ever done before.
Yeah, he hit 10 home runs in 22 games.
Yeah, something like that.
He was on so it would be like a 65, 70 home run pace.
And not only that, but all of his regular season metrics before that were very good with both the Cardinals and Rays.
Yeah, he was, and he ended up having the only award he could have won was Rookie of the Year. If this was his fourth season, he wouldn't be an All-Star. He wouldn't be, in Silver Slugger consideration. He wasn't going to be in Gold Glove consideration. It was just he had a very productive year. 130 OPS plus, weighted runs created plus, did well on the bases with 20 stolen bases. But, nothing out of this world. It wasn't, Aaron Judge in 2017 or Cody Bellinger in 2017 or even Jordan in 2019. It was just a solid year. And I guess that's why we considered Emmanuel Clase so heavily, was because Clase had an excellent year, even though it was, a reliever season.
It felt like Clase was the most dominant out of all of them.
Absolutely.
I think. Everyone else, Luis Garcia, very weird, kind of similar to a Rosarena, where it's he was just pretty good all year.
Yeah. And he happened to be a rookie.
Wander Franco, electric, but just not enough of a sample size. Adolis Garcia had a great month, but then just there was the league figured him out a little. There was a lot of flaws within his game, the strikeout to walk ratios, obviously, and just the 286 OBP. And then Clase is kind of just he didn't really do anything wrong all year.
Right.
He just happened to be a reliever.
Yeah, he just happened to face a lot less batters than guys had plate appearances. But, he was just, when he was facing those batters, they were likely outs, and he was above and beyond. But Arozarena wins it, and absolutely can't get mad at that. I had him as
You knew that was what they were going to go with.
Yeah, and also I'm praising Clase, but I still put Arozarena as what my selection would be. And then something that was a little bit of a surprise, not because he won it, but because of how much he won it by, was Jonathan India. We both said he was going to win it, not before the season, but after the season's conclusion. We both said he was going to win it. We both thought Trevor Rogers should win it if we had our own votes. But India did win it, and he won it with 29 first place votes.
That's shocking.
It was surprising.
Yeah. I'm not upset about India winning. I think if Rogers pitched maybe 20 more innings, then we're looking at a different story. But he didn't, and that's just the reality of the situation. But yeah, I would have thought Rogers gets more than one first place vote.
Yeah, it's odd because it's another weird thing where, India, he had just a pretty good year. He had a similar season to Arozarena in that it was just kind of a pretty good year, and then Rogers had a very good rookie year, but in a smaller sample size.
The most unbelievable thing from this was the one guy from Miami who voted for Vladimir Gutierrez with his third pick. He had a 4.74 ERA. Not necessarily great peripherals. I mean, his peripherals I think were better than his actual statistics. But
yeah.
No, his peripherals were actually worse. He had a 5.22 FIP. He had a 1.01 ERA plus because he pitched in Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's wild.
Weird. Yeah. I thought it was cool that one person, I think it was a Pittsburgh writer, voted for David Bednar with his third pick.
I just looked at that.
Yeah. I actually respect that. I think David Bednar is very, very good. I think he's one of the best relievers in baseball that nobody talks about.
Yeah. 2.23 ERA this year.
Yes. And that was and his peripherals are even better, I think. Because he went through one period of time where he was just getting BABIP to death.
Yeah, his FIP was right along there at 2.69.
I believe he had the best FIP in the majors over the last 3 months of the season.
Potentially.
I was looking at it recently.
That would be interesting to look at. But yeah, he's a guy to look for out of the Pirates bullpen.
Yeah, probably the funniest thing about the NL Rookie of the Year voting is the one person who voted for Trevor Rogers was Dan Szymborski from Fangraphs, who is based in Cincinnati.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wait. Say that again.
The one guy who voted for Rogers was a Cincinnati-based writer.
Oh, right. Yeah. I forgot about that. That was pretty funny to see.
Yeah, it was a Fangraphs writer, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Especially because Rogers was a guy who had a better FIP than his ERA, so that, and he had a higher FWAR than Jonathan India in the year, which is funny to point out that he's a Fangraphs writer, but also from Cincinnati. I think with both, we kind of saw what we kind of expected, and that leads into Tuesday, where in one award we got what we expected with Gabe Kapler. He got only 28 first place votes, is how I should phrase it. He only got 28 first place votes.
Yeah, how ridiculous is that?
Mike Schilt with the first place vote.
And he's out of there.
Yeah. You got, if you say at the beginning of the year Cardinals are getting 91 wins, it's like,
oh, that's it?
Cool.
They definitely lost in the first round of the playoffs, right? Oh, they didn't even win the division.
Oh.
Oops.
Whoops. Yeah. That's a tough look. I'm trying to see who picked who. Both the Atlanta writers picked Kapler, which of the St. Louis? Yeah, both St. Louis writers picked Kapler. So that's pretty funny.
Bunch of outsiders.
Colorado writer picked Council, and Cincinnati writer.
What is with Cincinnati writers this year?
Schilt. He was from the Associated Press, so it's kind of more of an old school thing. Mitch Stacy. Let's take a look at this guy.
Yeah.
See what comes up.
That's the guy who voted for Schilt?
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
Mitch Stacy. Let's look at his Twitter profile. It is private.
That's unfortunate.
He has less than 1,000 followers.
That's very interesting. Journalist, private on Twitter.
Oh my God.
Wow.
What is going on here?
And
he's got. I gotta go back to the history of.
The funny thing is, if you're voting for Brian Snitker, which someone did, you could see how someone would make that case, because it's he took a really injured Braves roster and he built them back up, and they were one of the best teams at the end of the regular season. It's still not the right case to make when you consider what Gabe Kapler did. But there is no reason. Mike Schilt, I guess you can make the same case. They were not supposed to make the playoffs and they won 17 games in a row. It's they shouldn't have had to win 17 games in a row to make the playoffs in the first place. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, if they won 17 in a row, if you told me that the Cardinals were going to win 17 in a row in September, I'd be like, oh, are they going to get a 100 win season over here?
Yeah, I would have been like, are they going to be the first team to clinch the division?
Yeah. But no.
No, actually, they didn't even get close. The Brewers didn't even flinch that entire time.
Yeah, no. They got swept in 4 games, and it didn't make a dent in in their progress.
Let me look at for Fangraphs, you can look at the day by day projections of the percent odds of winning the division. I bet it didn't change at all.
Yeah, it probably wasn't.
I don't know where to find it off the top of my head.
Probably didn't do too much.
Oh, standings. Okay, yeah. Projected standings, playoff odds.
And then, as we pull that up, we got the
Just keep going.
American League Manager of the Year, which
the curse is broken.
Yeah. Kevin Cashman's back to back.
Unreal. I think he's the second manager ever to do that.
Who else did it?
I don't remember, but I saw a graphic where it was he's the second manager to win Manager of the Year twice in a row.
That's pretty wild. I feel like the guy who wins Manager of the Year never wins the World Series.
Yeah. When was the last time?
I don't know. It wasn't Joe Madden.
No. I'm thinking back 2015. I don't think it was Ned Yost.
Yeah, no. It's always these new up and coming teams that.
Yeah, that is a very valid point.
That eventually
That was not
losing the
Bruce
playoffs.
Bochy in 2014. That would have been Mike Williams.
John Farrell didn't win it in
John
2013.
Farrell did not win it.
It was Terry Francona.
Did Bruce Bochy win it in maybe it was Bruce Bochy that won it twice.
Potentially. But Kevin Cash, we both thought Alex Cora should win it, and, we still believe that. But Kevin Cash, I know that they had the best record in the AL last year, but I'm not too mad at it still. I'm not too mad at his winning the award again because, he lost his two best pitchers and then he lost the third best pitcher halfway through the season.
And they won 100 games.
And I don't know if anybody knew this, but
they had one of the lowest payrolls.
They had one of the lowest payrolls.
Crazy.
And all the other teams in the AL East, outside of the Orioles because they're rebuilding, have some of the highest payrolls.
Yeah.
It's like the craziest thing that no one's ever heard of. Yeah, it's turning into one of those.
It actually is though.
It sucks. But I mean,
it also sucks because their owner just sucks.
Yeah, it's like, can we change that? Kevin Cash ended up getting 19 first place votes. Scott Service got 5, Dusty Baker got 2, Charlie Montoyo got 3, and Alex Cora got 1. I don't know. I'd like to, see what people were saying. Chris Cotillo had Cash, Service, Cora. That's the only one we're that familiar with. Only right.
I think I know a few.
Yeah.
Let me look. Who do we got here? Ian Brown had Cash, Cora, Service. John Palmarosi had Baker, Cash, Service. Brian McTaggart had. Oh wow, Brian McTaggart left Baker off his ballot. That's crazy.
Shout out to Ken Davidoff of the New York Post, only guy to vote for Cora first place.
And it's a New York guy.
New York
Post, nonetheless.
Look at this. The world's coming together. I'm telling you.
It's true.
It's quite fascinating. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to say other than maybe I'm surprised, and I think we both agree that if Cora hadn't been associated with the 2017 Astros, things look a lot different here.
That probably is the difference maker, honestly.
Because I don't know how else you have Cora in 5th place this year. That's just the scenario.
Yeah, it's quite odd, but it happened.
Yeah, and obviously Kevin Cash did a great job once again. Scott Service did a great job, and Alex Cora did a tremendous job, but didn't get the recognition, unfortunately, for him. But manager of the year, it's so weird. It's so weird to analyze anyway. That's why it's our least favorite award. Then last night we get the announcement that Robbie Ray is the Cy Young Award winner.
I just realized John Palmarosi got to vote on multiple awards.
Ooh.
Wow. He voted for AL Cy Young and AL, I think, Manager of the Year. Yeah, because I just talked about him. Yeah. Yeah, he did. He voted for 2. So did Brian McTaggart. What is this? Am I looking at the same list? Hang on a second. Am I going crazy, or am I actually correct in saying that these 2 people got to vote on? Yep, they did.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing, but
maybe they're running out.
I was gonna say, how many are they hiring at the BBWAA Detroit chapter or the Houston chapter?
Yeah, I mean, you figure, so there's 30, so there's 8 awards being voted on. There's 30 writers for each award. That's 240 writers. But I guess
you need 2 from each city.
But yeah, you need 2 from each city. So
yeah.
Hey, I don't know.
Interesting.
There's definitely not a problem in Boston, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, we're gonna have to, if we want to try something out, we got to go to Arizona, see what's popping.
Clearly, Houston and Detroit.
Yes.
I mean,
Detroit.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to Detroit. We'll get into that later.
That's true. Jason Beck from Detroit was the one person to not vote Robbie Ray as their Cy Young winner.
Yeah. I don't hate I can't hate on Ray not being unanimous, but
No, I don't. I can't either. And I mean, I love Robbie Ray, and I'm so happy for him. But I was not expecting a 29-1 either.
yeah, I was expecting something more like 25-5 maybe, but he led the important categories that aren't like super advanced. He didn't lead an F4.
It's very funny. Like, we'll get into this, but like the discrepancies between how they evaluated AL and NL Cy Young is hilarious.
Yeah, it is pretty hilarious.
Because like you could use the same like if you voted for Corbin Burns, you could use the same logic to say Garrett Cole deserved it over Robbie Ray, and Corbin Burns and Robbie Ray won with the two different like logics.
Yeah, very true. Very true. And Cole was the guy with less innings too, so it makes sense. Yeah, it is a weird dynamic there.
Yeah, it is.
Because
I mean, I have a justification.
But yeah, Cole I guess technically did get unlucky, but I think the difference between Burns' ERA and FIP and the difference between Cole's ERA and FIP were so greatly.
We'll get into it because this did spark a lot of conversation on Twitter about how we should start evaluating Cy Young and if we need to move on or if we need to like run it back to where it used to be. But let's talk a little bit about Robbie Ray. This is a guy who was a perennial strikeout walk machine. One of the top strikeout pitchers over the last 5 years, but also the top walk pitcher.
Yep.
And
in a bad way.
In a bad way, and I mean like. I was started saying this time last year, if he just cuts down the walks, we could see an elite pitcher.
Yeah,
and this is where we are.
This time last year, like he was signing that 8-year deal.
Mm-hmm. That 8-year deal, yeah.
Or that $8 million deal. Yeah.
8 years, $1 million. He's getting paid like around the average household income. Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting like a beginner surgeon's payroll, or like the best player in 1962.
Yeah.
You hear Robbie Ray? He got 8 years, $1 million. You hear?
He's a millionaire.
Wow. He's gonna be able to buy a lot of stocks. But yeah, Robbie Ray. Good on, like you can take the victory lap with that one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I will go ahead and take that opportunity.
Yeah.
It's very funny because I was kind of just fascinated by how consistently of a true outcome guy Robbie Ray was. And when I started, I tuned into every start of his, pretty much this year, really. I tuned into every Robbie Ray start this year, which of course turned into a Cy Young season. When I first started watching, I was like, all right, give me the strikeouts and give me the walks. Let's see it. And I remember his first start, his first 2 starts, he had 9 walks. He had literally 6 walks in one of his starts against the Royals, and he gave up 0 earned runs. He was just getting so bailed out, but he wasn't really striking people out. Like, it took till his 3rd start of the year to have a multi-strikeout inning. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is weird. Like, this is trending in the wrong direction. Like, the walks are still there, but he has, like, his first start, 5 innings pitched, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. His second start, 5 innings pitched, 6 walks, 3 strikeouts. Like, the strikeout numbers just weren't there like you would expect them to be. And then his 3rd start of the year, I remember it was in Tampa, 6 innings pitched, no walks, 9 strikeouts. And I was kind of shook. And I remember he went through a 6-start span where he had 49 strikeouts and 1 walk.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is unreal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is beyond anything I could have ever expected. When I said cut the walk numbers, I was not referring to 1 walk over a 6-start span.
Right.
With 49 strikeouts nonetheless. Just an incredible job from Ray. And I mean, it's not like it's easy to say the Blue Jays came in and changed something, but like his walk numbers were bad when he was in Toronto last year. I get it was a much different environment. It was a much smaller sample size. It was 2020. Like, it was a very weird concept, but he made some sort of change this year. He had an uptick in fastball velocity. He got a lot of strikeouts, particularly on that fastball. I think he became like he got like his 1,500th career strikeout this year. No, he didn't. 12.
He became the fastest.
No, he had like he has the most strikeouts in a pitcher's first 1,000 innings.
Okay.
Yeah. He also became the active leader or the all-time leader in strikeouts per 9 with 11.2.
Yeah, that's a fun.
Which is so cool.
It's a fun kind of carousel that goes on there.
Sports Info Solutions had a tweet yesterday where it was like, trivia, which active pitcher is the all-time leader in strikeouts per 9? Hint, he's a Cy Young finalist. And I think someone said Corbin Burns, and I was like, nope, it is Robert Glenn Ray.
Yeah, Corbin Burns in his 300 career innings.
Yep.
But yeah, congratulations, Robbie Ray. I'm
happy.
He's going to be probably rewarded handsomely in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, he's going into his age 30 season. This was his first. Yeah, I think he'll get I'd say max of 5 years. I don't think he's getting anything more than that. But regardless, he's getting some good AAV out of it, I'm sure, from whoever wants to pay him.
Yeah, and for the second year in a row, we have a Cy Young winner going into free agency.
That is true.
That is very interesting, but this time it's over a full season of work.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Robbie Ray, he's a Cy Young winner, as everyone predicted before the year started.
That's right.
So now we get into National League Cy Young, which was, it was a big conversation. It was like a big, kind of a big moment in kind of the baseball statistic player evaluation sabermetric world, because it's you got this guy who, this guy Corbin Burns, he wins the ERA title. He's got a 1.63 FIP, Al. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'll just explain. I was very much on the Corbin Burns Cy Young train, and I get that. Well, first of all, there's this notion that you shouldn't use FIP because ERA is what happens on the field. FIP happens on the field too.
Yeah, that's true.
FIP is exclusively metrics that happen on the field.
Yeah.
So, and I think FIP is kind of used for a dominance factor. I think there is a difference between who had the best year and who had the best FIP, because FIP tries to take out luck.
Yeah.
And luck is just going to be a part of the game. Corbin Burns obviously didn't have the best of it at most times.
Yeah.
However, I'm willing to stand by the argument that FIP shouldn't be a component or FIP shouldn't be a main component of determining a Cy Young.
Yeah.
But when you have a situation where Corbin Burns just had the second best single season FIP over the last century, I can't ignore that. I don't care if Zach Wheeler got 139 more outs.
Yeah, that is true.
I can't ignore that. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah. This was kind of the internal debate I had in my head when I was thinking about what would I do with the vote as we were coming into this podcast a couple weeks ago when we were selecting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the conversation of dominance in shorter amount of innings over less dominance, still some dominance, but less dominance over a longer workload.
Yeah.
And what I think one Jeff Passan tweet. Jeff Passan was kind of highly on the Wheeler train, especially after the announcement was made.
Mm-hmm.
He said Wheeler had a 12% worse ERA while having 27% more innings pitched, and the logic I used to have Burns win, in my head was Burns's expected ERA was Wheeler's expected ERA was 38% worse than Burns's expected ERA, and Wheeler had 27% more innings, as he mentioned before. So, and a lot of the times I don't really factor peripherals as much. Kind of the thing with the Robbie Ray Garrett Cole situation, because I don't think there was anything that was kind of outlandish.
Yeah.
But with Burns, I saw his BABIP with runners in scoring position, 419. That's just not replicable. That's just something that's an anomaly. Also, his infield defense, the Brewers' infield was second worst in outs above average. So, and Corbin Burns, when he wasn't striking guys out, which was a lot of the time, but when guys were making contact, it was above 50% ground ball rate, and he had a defense that was second worst in outs above average. So it's now I have to factor the luck.
Yeah.
Because also I think Burns was 15th unluckiest in WOBA ex-WOBA difference out of over 100 qualifiers, and he was still able to win the ERA title, which is unbelievable. So that's kind of the statistical angle I took. I just couldn't ignore the lack of luck there. Sometimes I do, but in this case, I really couldn't.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I was not aware of the BABIP with runners in scoring position, but that's crazy.
Yeah, and you look at the data. It's hard to have a 419 BABIP against where they're all just hard hit line drives. That's not going to be happening.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you're talking about, like you mentioned, the second worst infield defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I do respect the idea that peripherals shouldn't be factored into Cy Young voting because it's what happened on the field. It's who had the best year on the field. But like I mentioned, FIP is what happened on the field. Corbin Burns had the second best FIP. And, I said FIP is a domination factor. Corbin Burns had the second most dominating season in the last century by FIP.
That is true.
Like in that specific instance, like I can't ignore that.
Yeah, and we talk about B WAR, F WAR. We weren't voting it. We weren't considering Nathan Eovaldi at all. And guess who led the American League in F WAR? It was Nathan Eovaldi.
Absolutely.
But we weren't going to consider him because, when we looked at StatCast data and also just, using a little bit of baseball common sense, it's like, Eovaldi had a great year, probably got a little unlucky, but he wasn't the best pitcher in the American League.
Yeah.
Clearly. So, there's points, you got to know when to rely on the peripherals and when not to. And I think American League, National League, Cy Young kind of showed us where we draw the line. Yeah.
And we draw the line at picking Garrett Cole there because, yes, Garrett Cole had all better peripherals. Like, the only thing that Robbie Ray did better was pitch more innings and give up less runs. Like, Garrett Cole struck out more batters. He walked less batters. Like, he did everything else better. But it just wasn't that egregious.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's just like that's where you draw the line.
Exactly. This is, I was just reminded the Cy Young peripheral thing we talked about last year, and that's what led to one of the intro quotes. Was the
Yep.
So that happened about a year ago. The Christy Mathewson thing. So, we've already analyzed MVP, and we don't know the results yet, so we'll just kind of talk about that briefly next week. Probably more about the National League MVP, because we know what the American League MVP is going to be.
Yes, we do.
National League MVP, that could be a 15-15 split, potentially. There's potential for it, but, no guarantees. So those were the awards. As we mentioned, normally in award season, there's not a lot of free agent stuff going on, but that was not the case in this here week that we just had.
Yeah, what a week it was.
Absolutely. I guess it starts with
Friday morning.
There were two big deals to happen that day. First was someone who I've talked about very many times in the past, just this season, Eduardo Rodriguez.
Yep.
Getting a solid lengthy deal. Not Garrett Cole lengthy, but 5 years, $77 million, an average annual value of $15.4 million after a year in which he had a 4.74 ERA, but also a 3.32 FIP and a 3.55 expected ERA. We've been over all that.
It's been very funny seeing some of the reaction from people in Detroit who aren't aware of that discrepancy. It's like, you just signed 5 years, $77 million for this guy. He has a 5 ERA. Oh my God, I can't believe it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where do we want to start with this?
I'm happy he got paid. And I think he deserves it. This is a guy who's gone through so much in the last couple of years, but it's also someone who's just very good. If you look at like 2019 to 2021, I know that the ERA obviously isn't there, but
Yeah,
like we mentioned, he's a ground ball pitcher who is pitching to the worst infield defense in the league.
Yeah, to give it a Red Sox fan perspective, in my, what would it be, 6 years of watching Erod, I never saw that Erod was the probable starter and went, oh, crap.
Yeah.
I never did that. I
There
always
was not
thought
a single time.
he's going to go out there, he's going to give some quality innings probably, is what he's probably going to do.
Yeah, so there have been 63 pitchers to pitch 300 innings between 2019 and 2021, excuse me. Erod's 3.63 FIP over that time is the 20th best.
Yeah,
So this
top
is
third.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is a good, I mean, we've had discussions over whether he's an ace or not. I think he absolutely can be in better circumstances, much better, a pitcher-friendly ballpark, a much better infield defense behind him. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some career years out of him in Detroit.
Yeah, with a guy his age going into his age 29 season, there's a big reason to believe we haven't seen the best of Eduardo Rodriguez yet. Gotta turn that up. Yeah, there's a very big reason we potentially haven't seen the best of Eduardo Rodriguez yet. I think a lot of it depends somewhat on the defense behind him. We talked about off air, like, the Tigers' infield defense isn't the greatest, although anything's an upgrade, obviously. I think also what I was thinking from a Red Sox perspective here, because the Red Sox were in talks with Eduardo Rodriguez as well. This was kind of a weirdly quick process. They offered him a qualifying offer. Obviously, Erod doesn't take it. And then they were talking about a multi-year deal with him.
Which it wasn't necessarily discussed what they meant by multi-year. It could have been 2 years. It could have been 10 years. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. But obviously he rejects that, goes to the Tigers, and there's probably Red Sox fans are thinking, we got beat out by the Tigers. Maybe it's a thing where you kind of have to go your separate ways from Eduardo Rodriguez. You can't invest that much in a ground ball pitcher when your infield is gonna, at least the left side of that infield is gonna stay the same.
Well, in Boston, yeah, definitely.
In Boston. Yeah, not in Detroit, but in Boston.
Detroit, I mean,
there's always potential.
There's potential for a huge upgrade.
Yeah, exactly. But the left side of the infield in Boston is, you're gonna have Bogarts and Devers, who are two phenomenal hitters, but are not going to get you the extra outs that some other shortstops and third basemen are going to get you, and that's a fine team process to go about. They bring the offense, so they don't necessarily have to have the same defense, and I don't think the Red Sox are going to be super active in the shortstop market like some might.
Well, there's been reports that they're interested in Baez.
Yeah.
But it's just being interested. I don't know how much that will actually correlate to actually doing it. Just to give an idea on how egregious this is, among those 63 pitchers I mentioned earlier, Erod's BABIP since 2019 is 337. The second worst is 317. It's he is far and away the unluckiest pitcher.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
So he wasn't even getting lucky in 2019 at all.
No.
Yeah, pretty wild.
And he still almost won 20 games.
Yeah. So, it's a thing where, maybe it's just like Erod with the Red Sox, maybe not. It's probably not going to be a fit because you're going to invest more in Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Devers than you are Eduardo Rodriguez, and that's just baseball. That's just roster building. So maybe they'll go after some fly ball pitchers in the offseason to potentially replace Rodriguez and give a better situation to themselves. Any other thoughts on Eduardo Rodriguez?
I think that's kind of it. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of role he plays in a rotation full of younger arms. He's kind of going to be the veteran presence in that rotation now.
Yeah.
Because there was the discussions about, hey, maybe the Tigers bring back Verlander. That's not happening.
Yeah.
You got Casey Mize, Tarek Skubal, Matt Manning. Erod might be the guy that they're all looking up to now.
Yeah, very much potentially. That's a guy who is registered 856 and 2/3 career innings in the bigs, and has pitched in the postseason as well.
The World Series.
And he's built a decent resume. It's pretty crazy that 850 innings into a career, he's got like a .3 difference, a 33-point difference in ERA and FIP.
Right.
3.83 FIP, 4.16 ERA. That's pretty wild. You don't usually see things like that. But, yeah, exactly. Could bring a veteran presence there. This contract is going to take him through his age 33 season. So, if he does well, he potentially has another good payday after that in the somewhat far future.
Absolutely.
So that was a long-term deal that occurred, that was signed with Eduardo Rodriguez in Detroit. We had a short-term deal, like within an hour signed. That was a pretty major one, at least financially. Noah Syndergaard.
Absolutely.
1 year, $21 million to the Los Angeles Angels.
The Angels are just the kings of one-year experiments. This might be, it's very weird to say that a one-year deal is high risk. This could be the biggest one.
Yeah, that's true.
Like $21 million a year for a guy coming off a Tommy John surgery. I'm not saying I dislike it for the Angels. I think it's a good move, and I think that's what they needed to do for so long to be a better team. We've been saying for so long they need to get pitching, they need to get pitching. So it'd be wrong to be like, well, why'd they get this guy who's a pitcher, who's good? But they are really rolling the dice here.
Yes, they are indeed. Yeah, because Syndergaard, he's been out for 2 years with elbow problems.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, he's had his good years. He's had his times where he's never had bad years. He's just had years where he's not healthy. And that's really the issue you'll run into with Noah Syndergaard. So yeah, it is high risk to sign a guy for $21 million with that, with those injury problems. But I mean, I don't know.
It's an exciting time, though. You're going to have Noah Syndergaard and Shohei Ohtani hopefully in the same rotation.
Yeah.
To go along with the other superstars on that team.
You're basically adding Mike Trout this year. He was only there for a little over a month last year.
Yeah, and you're basically adding Anthony Rendon as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So, if it provides the most positive upside for the Angels, Noah Syndergaard's best year, he had 5 wins above replacement according to Baseball Reference. So, you're kind of adding 5 wins.
Yeah, you absolutely are.
Potentially there. But it could just end up being a waste. But you can't think, you got to think positive things. But
I mean, this is what we've wanted the Angels to do, so I'm not going to knock them for doing it because I want to see this work out. Yeah, and it's not even a thing where it's like this is going to ever be dead money beyond 2022. Ooh. This is a stat. It's not that it completely applies here. I guess it applies here. Why not? So in 4 out of Noah Syndergaard's first 5 big league seasons, he logged 150 innings. He had less than 2.5 walks per 9, and he had 9+ strikeouts per 9. He is the only pitcher in baseball history to have at least 4 of such seasons in their first 5 big league seasons.
That's unbelievable, and that's not the drop. But we'll get the drop. We'll have the drop plenty out later in the episode.
Yeah, that's right. How about that? Yeah, so just once again, Noah Syndergaard in 4 of his first 5 big league seasons, 150+ innings pitched, 9+ strikeouts per 9, 2.5 or less walks per 9. No other pitcher has done that in more than 3 of their first 5 seasons. He's done it in 4.
Yeah.
That's a cool stat. And that goes back to 2015 through 2019. So I know we're 3 years removed from 2019 at this point, but that was his last full season. So, he's proven to continue being successful. And he also got very unlucky that season. My God, 4.28 ERA, 3.6 FIP in 197 2/3 innings pitched.
Yeah, he's been a FIPster his whole career. I'm just realizing now, 2.93 career FIP. That's why
he led the league in FIP in 2016.
Yeah, 2.29.
Finished 8th in the Cy
So
Young
I'm
voting.
wondering what his wins above replacement
On Fangraphs is
on
compared to
Fangraphs
Baseball Reference.
were
Yeah.
in 2016. Yeah, he had 6 wins above replacement in 2016 compared to 5 on Reference. But yeah, So yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know what the fielding issues in New York were. I don't know where exactly they lied or laid, but maybe that's something that's not going to be as much of a thing.
Especially if you have Anthony Rendon playing third. That's usually ideal.
Yeah. I'm at a loss for words with the Noah Syndergaard thing because it's so unpredictable what will happen.
It really is. I mean, I think just one of the big takeaways from a league perspective is that it set the table for the other free agent pitcher signing that happened later.
Yes.
I don't want to make Noah Syndergaard signing about that because this is obviously a very significant move for both him and the franchise. I think a lot of people just assumed he was going to take the qualifying offer from the Mets, and he got $3 million more from the Angels, and good for them.
Yeah,
good for both of them.
And maybe being out of New York is gonna help his health a little bit. I don't know. They do seem to have a bad stigma over there. Maybe it's not a.
I mean, he's going to the Angels.
Yeah, he's going to the Angels.
That's like the one place that's maybe worse with history of players' health.
Especially
on a pitcher, especially pitchers.
Oh, in terms of maybe not arm health.
No. I'm not even talking about that.
Yeah.
Like just in general, like pitchers go over there, and it's not uncommon for most of them to get hurt. Like I mean, look at 2018.
Yeah, I think. Ohtani got hurt.
Ohtani's been hurt several times, but he had injury issues before coming to Anaheim. So I mean, you could also chalk it up to that. But I mean, there have been Andrew Heaney was hurt for a while.
Bundy probably got hurt this year. I don't know.
Who knows?
Or got quote unquote got hurt.
Yeah.
Just was bad, and they sent him to the IL.
Nick Tropiano was supposed to be good. He was always hurt. There have been, I can't think of names off the top of my head, but there have just been several instances throughout the years where Angels pitchers have just not been able to stay on the field. Parker Bridwell had a good season once. He got hurt. Matt Shoemaker got hurt for them, I believe.
Ah.
Yeah.
Matt Shoemaker.
Yeah. He was pretty good for a few years there.
Yeah. And I just remember when we predicted our next no-hitters after I think it was the sixth one.
I don't want to talk about it. He had an 8.06 ERA this year.
Well, mine didn't get a no-hitter either.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess the thing to take away from the Noah Syndergaard signing is, everything's up to interpretation. We have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Something, as you mentioned, a similar deal was signed, except, this one was probably limited to 1 year because of age and not particularly concern of the guy's arm and performance.
Well, that could have been a part of it too.
Could have been a part of it, yeah. But he is going into his age 38 season, right?
I think it was 39. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, something. But Justin Verlander,
he's going to. Oh yeah. No, he's going to his age 39 season. Yeah.
Oh wow. A guy who, Justin Verlander, who got Tommy John surgery late in 2020, and you obviously know his resume. If he retired today, would be a Hall of Famer. And in his last full season, he won Cy Young, and definitely had a deserving year for sure. And Justin Verlander briefly on the free agent market, but was signed back to the Houston Astros for 1 year, $25 million with a player option to go with that. So, I mean, what were our thoughts here?
I think the coolest thing about it is that his brother was the first to report it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that was good.
It is very funny, seeing, normally when I see a source that isn't Passan or Heyman or the usual people, or Rosenthal, I usually wait for another source. So the natural reaction is seeing Ben Verlander with a scoop, and honestly my natural reaction was okay, hold on a second. Then I was oh, wait a minute. He probably knows Justin Verlander.
Yeah. I
think he would know when he signs.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
It was. Yeah, I would agree. It was kind of a. I think there's a growing trend of trying to beat the big guys and things. I know I know the biggest free agent pitcher from last offseason was trying to beat the writers with, breaking his own news. Didn't work out. But
yeah, they still beat him too. Well, I mean,
he told the Mets he wasn't signing. He wasn't signing with them, and then probably a source within the Mets, and he probably put the video into YouTube, and then it was like, it's like a 3-minute upload process.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, like it was also reported he was going to the Mets.
That's true. That was funny.
That was. We all had a good laugh there.
Yes. Classic moment.
Did you see when Eduardo Rodriguez signed? Bob Nightingale put out a tweet that said Eduardo Perez has signed with the Tigers.
Yeah. I think you sent it to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's out of the ESPN booth, back onto the field.
Yeah.
out of the Statcast booth. Yeah. That was pretty funny. But Justin Verlander gets $25 million. I guess maybe got more because Noah Syndergaard signed for $21 million.
Yep.
There's potential there that was the scenario, but
that's what I think. Like, because my immediate thought when Noah Syndergaard got 21 mil was, what's Verlander gonna get now? Because I mean, like, I feel like you can kind of throw out the age factor when it's a 1-year deal. It all comes down to who the better pitcher is, and they're both coming off of Tommy John. So my initial thought was, okay, well, Verlander is objectively better than Syndergaard. They're both coming off of surgeries. Realistically, he's getting the same type of deal. How much more is the average annual value?
Right.
And it was $4 million more.
And then to go to a team's perspective, I think this was a great move by the Houston Astros.
This was, I mean, like, if you look at their rotation going into next year, it's hard not to feel good about it. Like, you have Verlander, you have Framber Valdez, you have Lance McCullers Jr., Jose Urquidy, Luis Garcia.
Yeah.
That's a really good rotation.
Very good. Very, very good. And, yeah, like, there's probably some guys that were starting games this year that you can't have starting games next year. Yeah, it's a great move. It brings some experience back into the rotation. Look at that. A-Rod was right.
I mean, to be fair, Verlander is replacing Zach Greinke. I feel like it's kind of the same experience.
Yeah, I guess.
We can't bring back Greinke. We need to recreate him.
Yes. How about
Justin Verlander?
Way more strikeouts?
Yeah.
Way more fastball velocity.
And 1 year older.
Yeah, 1 year older. So yeah, that was I appreciated that deal from an Astros perspective. I think it puts them in a good spot to repeat as AL West champions, or at least puts them in that direction.
It does.
Yeah, I think, whoever was going to get Justin Verlander, I don't think he's going to fall off post-injury. I think he's going to have, I don't think he'll have a Cy Young year, but I think he'll have he has some solid seasons left in him.
I think the seasons we're seeing from Clayton Kershaw right now is what we're going to start seeing from Justin Verlander here.
Yeah, potentially.
Like, he could be a solid, 2 or 3 starter, and maybe even an ace.
Yeah.
But, I think McCullers is a guy that can kind of take on that ace role right now.
Right. I think for me, it depends a lot on what Verlander's velocity is at post-surgery.
That's what that's something you got to look at. Especially because, really, you're probably only going to start seeing it during the season. Do you really think he's going full out in spring training this year? I don't think so.
Yeah, no.
He's been through this before. He's not trying to win a spot in the rotation. He's going to be there if he's healthy. He's just trying to stay healthy, maybe, just work on facing hitters again for the first time in 2 years.
Right.
Really since 2019, actually.
Yeah.
Because he pitch 2 innings in 2020?
I think 6.
6, yeah.
He had 1 start.
He had 1 good start, and then okay, you're right.
But yeah, and then it was, after that, gone.
Mm-hmm. 6 innings, 2 runs.
2 runs. Yeah, and I think the thing that separates in my head someone like Verlander from someone like Kershaw is the ability to strike guys out, because they kind of have the same control and probably the same ability to avoid hard contact, but Verlander has the advantage in strikeouts, and that has a lot to do with his ability to throw the ball hard and have velocity. But if that's going away, then yeah, I see a similar
Yeah.
similar route that Clayton Kershaw has kind of taken. So yeah, good move by the Astros. They're a team that's willing to spend. They showed it again, and now they have their kind of ace back.
Kind of ace.
Kind of ace back.
Yeah.
And then I guess before all that was the last deal we'll get into, which was a younger man going into his age 28 season, I think, or age 28 or 27 season. He came up pretty young.
He did. Came up very young. Jose Berrios.
Yeah. Jose Berrios, going into his age 28 season, signed a 7-year, $131 million deal with the Blue Jays. Blue Jays did what they had to do.
Yeah.
We actually talked about it back in July, how they will definitely lose this trade if they don't extend Jose Berrios.
They wasted no time.
Yeah, they did not.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah, because this would be a deal where you would expect it to be signed in March, like when everyone's in person, but I guess not. And very good on the Blue Jays there.
Yeah, I mean, 7 years and $131 million for a guy who you traded premium prospects to get. I mean, like Austin Martin and Simeon Woods Richardson. That's a heavy price to pay for that guy. And like Chris just mentioned, and like we mentioned in July, the only real way to justify trading those kinds of players to get him is if he's not just around for a year and a half. Exactly. And he's going to be around for 7.5 years, maybe 8.5, probably 8.5, because I'm assuming the deal doesn't count this year.
That's a good question. I mean,
I don't know what the details are, but
yeah. Baseball Reference on his main page still has him as a free agent after 2022.
That's true.
So that's can't go there for that. But I guess if we went to other entities, so yeah, 7 years, $131 million. It makes me wonder, so I guess maybe they're a little unsure. I don't know if they sign. With Robbie Ray, I assume he's going back to Toronto, but this kind of alters the chances a little bit. But they should sign both. I think they have the financial flexibility for that.
Oh, they absolutely do, especially coming off the year they had this year. Like the Cy Young winner, second and third in the MVP, and you missed the playoffs. Like that's kind of inexcusable, even if they were in a really good division. They need to do everything they can this year to make sure that they don't have a repeat of that. And signing Jose Berrios is a very good start. Like, you don't have to worry about... I know that doesn't really change what the team would have looked like, because he was going to be there next year no matter what. But, you get him in a more settled role where he knows what the rest of his career looks like. And you can also put focus very early into signing Robbie Ray and maybe even Marcus Semien as well.
Yeah. Now you have a guy who is going to be in the rotation for a while. Maybe it's a thing where, they already had Jose, they were already the only team that could negotiate with Jose Berrios. Otherwise, obviously, it's tampering, and can't do that. That's illegal. But with Robbie Ray, he can negotiate with anybody, and he's probably out on the open market. He's probably going to be a little bit of a slower process than Berrios would be. So they figured, let's get Berrios out of the way now, and probably see where we're at with Robbie Ray as we continue down the line in the offseason. I'm just wondering, are they going to sign 3 big contracts with Berrios, Ray, and Semien, and then maybe potentially even another free agent? I don't know.
I mean, they were pretty ambitious last offseason. Not to that degree financially, but I mean, they were let's not forget, they also tried to sign Michael Brantley.
Yeah, they did.
They don't seem afraid to spend the money, so I think it is very plausible that they could do that.
Yeah. And, teams in the AL East, they like to spend a lot of money outside of the Rays and the Orioles, who are obviously rebuilding.
They have been for 4.5 years.
Yeah. But yeah, that is a good point you bring up. The Blue Jays have been very ambitious. They signed George Springer last year. That was it's been a great move. It's just, he's got to be healthy, but that's probably going to be...
I wonder if that's maybe I can't talk. I wonder if that's something that they use to try to justify possibly not signing Semien, because they only got Springer for half the year last year, and he was obviously very good. But what if their strategy is, oh well, like we brought back Ray, we extended Berrios, we didn't get Semien back, but we get a full season of George Springer this year. Like that's basically the same thing.
Yeah, potentially.
And I could see that as like a potential, like coping mechanism, I guess, for the organization.
Yeah, potentially, and also there's the factor of Kevin Biggio was, he was off and kind of injured the entire year last year, so it's like, all right, we're kind of adding him also.
Yeah, it's like, well,
and he can play second base too.
We'd be like, well, we had Santiago Espinal, who had a very underrated season. We throw him at second. You got Biggio at third, or you got Bichette at short. Yeah, that's their infield.
Right.
And then we got those two pitchers, along with, Alec Manoah, Hyun-Jin Ryu, Ross Stripling. Yes, definitely not Ross Stripling. I mean, like, honestly, you could probably still maybe make the case that you could justify not re-signing Semien for that reason.
Yeah.
I certainly think it helps to have Semien. I think they are a better team with him. I mean, the guy has finished top 3 in the Cy Young in each of the last 2 full seasons, or Cy MVP in each of the last 2 full seasons.
That's true.
Something that should be considered.
Yeah, it is. That is true there. It's something that should be considered. I guess maybe I don't know. Maybe they would look at the StatCast data and look at WOBA ex-WOBA difference. I think he benefited from being in those weird parks a little bit too. So maybe that's something they kind of consider, and potentially not signing him. He's had an odd career.
Yeah,
that's for certain. He's been up and down for sure. So
yeah, that's correct.
So yeah, I mean, but also I guess from their perspective, maybe Robbie Ray isn't guaranteed to have continued success either. Although I would, from my personal point, just as a fan, I would think Robbie Ray is more destined for sustained success than Marcus Semien is. But that's just one guy's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
And also, like, it's not like the offense. I mean, the offense, yes, it does take a major hit if Semien leaves.
Yes.
It's not like you still don't have one of the best offenses in baseball without him.
Right, exactly. If you just go down the line with Vlad Jr., George Springer, Bo Bichette,
Kevin Biggio, Teoscar Hernandez.
Yeah, Teoscar Hernandez.
Lourdes Gurriel Jr.
Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who turned it around at the end of the season. Yeah.
Yeah. Even Danny Jansen, who turned it around at the end of the season as well.
Yeah, as opposed to if you let Ray go, you got Berrios, who's good, but maybe not a number 1. You got Hyun-Jin Ryu, who's, in his mid-30s. And then, Manoah. It's not, your offense is in better shape without Semien than your rotation is without Ray. So
you also don't have to worry about Brad Hand next year, who he made probably the craziest thing. He pitched 8 2/3 innings for the Blue Jays, had a negative .6 BWAR.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was. I mean, like, they traded Riley Adams to get him. He was a how about that? And Brad Hand was not good.
That's unbelievable.
He was really not good. He had a 63 ERA plus with a 7.55 FIP.
7.55 FIP. Wow. So yeah,
3.1 home runs per 9, which it's 8.2 innings, but still.
So yeah, Jose Berrios, 7 years, $131 million deal.
Absolutely.
The Blue Jays were in action. Action-packed week of baseball news. Surprising at this time of year.
No, I was not ready for it.
Yeah. No.
But I will happily take it for sure.
Absolutely. So now we're getting into. We're gonna probably do this most weeks, probably every week.
Ideally every week.
Random how about that's. Mine aren't random. Mine are awards based, but they're gonna be completely random after this.
Mine is extremely random. It has nothing to do with anything.
I'm so excited. So, I guess, to provide reference, a how about that is, one of these, multiple filter stats, Rogers Hornsby only season with a 400 plus average and 40 plus home runs. That's a how about that. And The reason we call it How About That, you can refer to Show to Be Named Later, episode 44, part 1, the Sandy Koufax episode. It's around the middle of the episode where we explain that because it's just a funny thing on a scoreboard that was put up in Dodger Stadium in 1963 or 65. I forget which one. But
it was after one of his no-hitters.
Yeah, it was something. I think it was his 22nd time that season recording 10 strikeouts, and it said that on the scoreboard, and then ... How about that?
Yeah.
And I found that funny, so we just decided to make it a thing. So that's kind of the debrief on that. If you want more information there, Show to Be Named Later, number 44. It's still the podcast, but it's under a different name. So now we're doing random ones throughout the off season, just for fun, because we like digging up these stats. So
Yeah, we do.
Hope you enjoyed these for our November 18th, 2021 edition of
How about you start this time?
Yeah, how many
'Cause I started during the season.
how many how about that's do you have? 'Cause
I have one.
Oh, I have I think 13.
What the? Oh my god.
It's all awards stuff.
Oh my god, dude.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, prepare one.
Oh, I didn't hear
Jesus.
that.
It's like the scene in Moneyball where Brad Pitt's like,
I know what you're referring to.
yeah, when Brad Pitt asks Jonah Hill to do like 3 like player evaluations for scouting, he's like, I did 54. Actually, I did 55. I don't know why I lied to you there.
I actually did 17. How about that? So I don't know why I lied just there.
Oh my god, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, go right ahead then. Jesus Christ, I didn't realize we were going this heavy.
Yeah. Well,
I gotta step my game up next week.
No, you created the segment. I just didn't see what your vision of it was, but I figured, for
I
each
thought it was
award-
the same way we'd always do it, where you pick one, maybe 2 players to
Oh, okay.
highlight.
Oh, I just have like these filtered stats, so
Yeah.
it's not gonna take that long. It's not like this guy since June 17th.
Yeah, no, my vision was like it's kind of a way to highlight the random things we find throughout the week.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There we go. All right. I'm happy. Okay. Now we know that. But for my very loaded edition of How About That, so for American League Rookie of the Year, Randy Arozarena was the victor, and we got a 5-filter stat alert. Only rookie season ever with a 350-plus on-base percentage, 20-plus home runs, 20-plus stolen bases, and 30-plus doubles. That's a 5-filter stat. And that is, as we rhyme here, a...
It's a 5-filter stat, and it's a how about that?
It's a 5-filter stat, and how about that? Emmanuel Clase, who I believed should have been second place, who you believe should have won, but ended up in 5th place. He had the only rookie season ever with 60-plus innings pitched, an ERA of less than 1.3, and a FIP of less than 2.14. Jonathan India, who won Rookie of the Year, has an interesting how about that. It is the only rookie season ever with 70-plus walks and 22-plus hit-by-pitches. Always weird doing a hit-by-pitch how about that, but that's all I really could find. Trevor Rogers, only rookie season ever with 130-plus innings pitched, a 10-plus strikeout per 9, and an ERA plus of 150 or better.
I cited this. So Diamond Digest put out like a Diamond Digest Awards where it was like everyone at the website picks their awards, and they cited a few like reasons. And I was cited in the Trevor Rogers talk because he ended up winning Diamond Digest Rookie of the Year for the National League. And my reasoning was he had the only rookie season in baseball history with 150 ERA plus, 10 plus strikeouts per 9, and 0.5 or less walks per 9, minimum 105 innings pitched. He had 130 innings pitched, so not exactly cherry picked.
Oh, 0.5 home runs per 9.
What'd I say?
Walks.
Oh, oops. Yeah, no, that'd be insane.
That'd be pretty wild.
That would be ridiculous.
It'd be a crime if he didn't win Rookie of the Year. American League Cy Young the winner was Robbie Ray. He had one of 2 seasons ever with a 220 on-base percentage against or lower with runners in scoring position and 11-plus strikeouts per 9 with runners in scoring position. The other season was 2018, Jacob deGrom. I'm not going to give it a how about that because it wasn't an only season. Someone who I think got a few third-place votes and maybe a second-place vote was Liam Hendricks.
No, he did not get a second place vote.
Okay, he got a third place vote at least. He had the only season in baseball history with 110 plus strikeouts and less than 8 walks.
Oh my God, dude.
Um,
I knew his walk numbers were insane, but I just look at the rate basis. That puts it into so much of a crazier perspective.
yeah, it was pretty wild. Corbin Burns, he had the only season, and this is completely a FIP thing, only season in baseball history with 230 plus strikeouts, less than 35 walks, and less than 8 home runs allowed. That's how you get a 163 FIP in the year 2021. Shohei Ohtani. I mean, it's weird doing how about that's with
Yeah, that's not even. That seems like cheating.
But also, it's like I can't combine batting and pitching in these things.
That's
So I can
true.
only
Like
do-
this is exclusively one-sided.
This is only batting, which was like, 60% of his season.
Yeah.
He had the only season by a player in their first 4 seasons with 45 plus home runs and 25 plus stolen bases.
He has the only season in baseball history in the first 4 seasons with 45 home runs, 25 stolen bases, and 130 innings pitched.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
it's like when I say like Barry Bonds is the only player in baseball history with 760 plus home runs and 30 plus doubles.
Yes. Shohei Ohtani also, this was actually on MLB.com, but I went to see it for myself, or not MLB.com, but the MLB's Twitter. He had the only season in baseball history with 45 plus home runs, 25 plus stolen bases, and 5 plus triples. And then, he had the 130 innings pitched and 3.18 ERA. Makes things a whole lot more interesting.
Yep.
Vlad Guerrero Jr., who will likely be the runner-up for American League MVP, had the most home runs in a season by a player in their age 22 season or younger. And it is the only season by a player in their age 22 season or younger with 695 plus plate appearances and an OPS of 1,000 or higher. And then as we get into National League MVP, Bryce Harper. This is actually kind of a weird one because the parameters are a little weird. Only season in baseball history with 35 plus home runs, 40 plus doubles, and 100 plus walks in less than 600 plate appearances. And then Juan Soto, only season by a player in their age 22 season or younger with 650 plus plate appearances and an on-base percentage above 460. So there's your if you want to refer to this, if someone's listening and want to refer to this for this is why this guy won this award or this is why this guy was considered, you have some fun how about that's for that.
You're insane.
Thank you.
Now I feel like an idiot for having one.
Well, I'm only gonna have one next episode.
Yeah.
Well,
That was awkward.
they're gonna yell at us about masks.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
Anyways.
For reference, some random woman masked outside, so I'm assuming probably pretty stringent on the masks, walked up the ramp to try to get in the studio, but luckily that is locked, so we didn't get berated there. But didn't even yell at us through the window. So, dodged a bullet. But
Yeah.
whatever. Maybe she'll file a complaint or something. But anyway, your how about that? I'm not gonna do this every week, obviously. This was a one-time thing.
Okay.
This was for awards. This was for
Yeah,
awards
yeah.
because I figured, I wanted some cool things
Sure.
for these 2021.
I
players.
almost wanted to have just no context in any of these. Anyway, that's why I'm talking about Jazz Chisholm today. Jazz Chisholm obviously broke out early in the season, and one thing that really amazed me that I found is on April 10th of this year, he hit a home run off of Jacob deGrom. He was the first person this year to hit a home run off of him, and the pitch was a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. It was out of the strike zone, and he hit a home run. And then later on May 18th, he hit a home run off of Jose Alvarado. The pitch was 105 miles an hour. It was out of the strike zone. He is the only person in the pitch tracking era to have multiple home runs, 100 plus miles an hour on the pitch speed, out of the strike zone. And the only other person that is listed to have ever done it was Travis Hafner in 2010 against Steven Strasburg. We don't have the video, but if you look at the pitch chart, the ball is in the zone. Like, it's completely in the zone. Like, it's not just on the corner or anything. Like, that's a strike all day. So I'm considering it. Jazz Chisholm is the only player in the pitch tracking era and probably in baseball history to hit a home run on a 100-plus mile-an-hour fastball out of the strike zone, and he did it twice.
That's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's pretty
quick
unbelievable.
hands.
Yeah. Wild. Yeah. That's a good note to end on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a stat that I did not think I was going to be hearing today.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want with these off-season how about that's.
Yeah, I'm going to try to go in that trend next week instead of.
I know. I appreciate you going all out for this one though. That was cool.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for providing some good Jazz Chisholm 100-mile-an-hour out of the strike zone home run statistics.
All two of them
for
but
us.
Still, all two in the last at least 13, 14 years.
Yes.
And realistically, probably ever.
Right.
Who else was doing that? Like, maybe someone got one off Nolan Ryan, but I don't know. We will never know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, Walter Johnson. He threw 100, right?
No. Bob Feller?
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably not.
In
those stadiums in the 50s where it was 550 to left, I don't know. I don't know if anyone got one.
Yeah, no. I forget what was the Boston one? The Boston grounds.
Yeah.
Where the Braves played.
Yep.
Something like that. It was one of the virtual tours we took at the Hall of Fame before the infamous Comiskey Park moment. So we hope you enjoyed this one. There was a lot of news this week, so definitely hope you enjoyed this one. If you want to follow us on social media, follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran. And follow the show on Instagram at Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. We hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope to see you next week at a still undesignated time, but it will be sometime next week where we will be talking all the happenings in Major League Baseball. Once again, see you then.
This conversation is over.